What's up, Jay Rimmer? Yes, people, hope you're good. Can you hear me okay? Yes, Jason Melney, you alright? Jamie JH, nice one for letting me know, bro. CB, Just J, Jordan 89. So what's on the agenda tonight, people? Yes, Debs, are you good? Zen Thomas, Jamie JH. No plans up to now, mate. Just got a cold. And felt a sore knuckle. No, mate. I haven't, you know, William. Just been for some food, I ain't got back. Hello, Angie. You should say hello to me before anyone else. But never mind. Yes, Jamie JH. Don't see a knuckle. Don't know. There, that one. Sound, Jay. So what are we speaking about, people? What are we having a look into? Should we see what's on the news and elaborate further? Should we see what's in the local Echo, Liverpool paper, and elaborate further on it? Jordan's got no work till the 10th of January. Never seen you, Andy. Sorry, mate. Did you delete last night's live? Yes. How you become a subscriber says positive vibes. Press the button. So here we go. Top stories, Liverpool paper. This is what you've got. Mum suffered 2 years of hell in sparse 8th floor flat with violent drug addict. Holly, 23, wants everyone to know her story in the hopes she can help someone else from suffering like she did. So obviously it's going to be about domestic abuse in it. It's going to be about coercing someone, keeping them in confined conditions. But let's read into it. I'm not ignoring no one. Just let's see what she says. A mum who lived in isolation for more than 2 years under the total control of an egotistical, narcissistic abuser has revealed how she has regained her freedom and her life. Many girls and boys out there living such a life are too scared to break free, haven't got the power to break free. But like this woman here, Holly, she managed to do so. and her life's better on the other side. So anyone that may be in such a situation with such an individual, break free. It's always greener on the other side. Holly, 23, was cut off from her family, friends and the outside world by 33-year-old violent drug addict Thomas Fosbrook. So straight away there's a decade in the age difference. There's a decade in the age difference. And believe me, a decade makes a difference in the mentality, in the immaturity, and especially when there's a drug addict involved. Thanks for that, Mark, doing that. Great donation, thank you. So, there's a decade there. And let me tell you why there's an issue with that age difference. Does it make a difference that she's 23 and the man's 33? What if we put that back a bit? Yeah, would it make a difference if she was 16 and the man was 26? No. You've seen a lot of that lately. Young girls look older than what they are, being approached by older lads and getting led down a garden path because the older lad is on about his 6 or 7 bird. All he wants is to bang. This young girl thinks this is her first love. He doesn't give. She's fallen in love. She'll do what she wants. He'll treat her like leave her with an addiction most of the time. And then off you go. Others, possessive, controllable, older men who manage to get with a girl who's 10 years his junior and then treat her like this. According to Judge Fosbrook, according to a judge, Fosbrook treated Holly as nothing more than an object to satisfy his demands as they lived in a sparse flat on the 8th floor of a tower block. Imagine how nasty that must have been. Yeah, beats a bit later on. Their relationship, he added, was characterised by physical and psychological abuse on a regular basis on his part. So the mature man at the age of 33 was psychologically and physically abusing this young woman at the age of 23. How long was the relationship going on for? 2 years. So from the age of 21 up until the age of 23, this young girl got tethered by a grown man who had an addiction. It doesn't say what the addiction is here, but I guarantee you it's cocaine. Let's carry on reading. Blah, blah. Their relationship, he added, was characterised by physical and psychological harm, but thanks to compassion of midwives, Holly and her young daughter with Fosbrook, who was present during the violence and the degradation, managed to break free from his manipulation. So there's some words there that some of you mightn't understand unless you've been in that situation. First one is degradation. Just constantly putting them down. Managed to break free from his manipulation. Everyone knows what manipulation is. Everyone has participated in manipulation tactics somewhere in their lives, especially if you're a businessman, if you're a drug dealer, if you're a criminal, any type of criminal. It doesn't matter what type of criminal you are, you have been manipulative in some way in your life. Even legal members of society have been manipulative in some way in life, businessmen. It doesn't matter, but it can also be used wrong. It can also be used with vulnerable individuals that don't understand what manipulation is. They can be manipulated into committing crime. They can be manipulated into committing sexual acts on paedophiles. So it is what it is. Paedophiles are top class manipulators. Do you understand what I mean? Bam, bam, bam. I've fallen pregnant with their second child. Holly confided in staff at a neonatal clinic, and they devised a series of codes, like mixed up blood test results, to arrange appointments with her to check on her without Fosbrook knowing, of course. So, where she was seeing midwives during the second child, she spoke to a neonatal clinic about what was going on. So, to keep her under the carpet but keep her safe, every so often they'd send her an appointment, which was false, so she could come in and share whatever was going on, release that torment in her brain, you know, that constant harassment, manipulation. The first thing people do is cut you off. The first people do is cut you off in that type of relationship. They want you all to themselves, and they'll put the effort in to get you all to themselves. And when they're getting you all to themselves, they'll be there every night. They'll ring you consistently. You'll see that for a short term. Once they've got you into the routine of that sort of process, constant contact, communicating nightly, daily, every morning, once they've got you in that, they'll pull off, and then you'll be wondering, wow, what's going on here? And then you'll start harassing them. And that's what the manipulating people like. Bang, 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 bang. They like the other person to keep on calling. They like the other person to ring off the youth. You might just be worried. You might be worried sick. But to this manipulator, they thrive off it. They love it. So if you're one of them individuals that's constantly ringing someone, doesn't matter whether you're a girl ringing a man or a man ringing a girl, it does not matter. If you're one of them that get ringing, and they're not answering, just don't ring them. Trust me, just do not ring them. You'll be ruminating in your brain, you'll be causing psychological damage and you won't even know it. Why? Because you're just becoming into a different routine than the one he's left you in. The routine where she or he's left you in, where you're used to that regular contact every night around 9 o'clock, all of a sudden it stops. He put you in that routine, and now he's going to drag you into a routine where you're just a girl that's crazy about him, or a boy that's crazy about him. She'll take the piss out of you, left, right and centre. He will take the piss out of you, left, right and centre. Anyway, that's my opinion on certain ways manipulation can be used in a bad sense. But it's good the way them midwives in that neonatal clinic set up that sort of process for a woman in this sort of position, in this sort of situation with a man. It's good that they've got that going, and it's probably good that it's going to continue. So any woman that's in a relationship that the only time you get out the door is to the doctors, is to the dentist, share with them. It's all in confidential. Everything you share with them, it comes under the mental or the medical act or whatever. It's all confidential, but they've got to report it. And it's a safe way of not becoming bang on to the one that's victimising you. A court it led to Holly managing to send an email of evidence in secret to her mother, who alerted police, leading to Fosbrook's arrest in May. Fosbrook of Hanover Towers in Lancashire Hill, Stockport, is now starting a 3-year prison sentence after admitting a charge of coercive and controlling behaviour. Do you know what that is? Does anyone know what that is? Coercive and controlling behaviour. If you've seen the state of this man, and then you're seeing that Holly, do you understand? So if you could see the image of this nonce and then the image of that Holly, you'd be wondering to yourself, how the hell did they even come together? How the hell has that got with that? But drugs can destroy anyone in a 2-year period. So he might have been half okay when she's first met him, and then the drugs have got old and he's deteriorated drastically, because that's what drugs can do, people. Absolutely ruin you in short notice. Just Jay, that's what it is, like. So Fosbrook, who was a chef by trade, has previous convictions for violence. Manchester Minstrel Street Crown Court, he met Holly, who was working at the same restaurant in January 2019, and they quickly moved in together. So there you go, you've got a young girl working, and then you've got the chef in the place where she's working, getting on her, eventually getting with her, and living with her. In a distressing case of domestic violence, the court heard Fosbrook sold most of the furniture in the flat to fund his drug habit. He forced Holly to cut ties with her mother, removed doors from the flat so he could constantly see her, and even painted over the windows of the living room and kitchen so no one could see inside. Despite being on the 8th floor, said prosecutor Rachel Sutton. That's heavy, that, isn't it? Heavy. Imagine the prison she was in, psychologically and in reality, but psychologically it's 10 times worse when you're in a prison. For a young girl to just start work, enjoying her work, get with the chef, in them restaurants, chef's the main man, chef's the star in there, and he got all the pull. So she must have been a little bit, yes, it's going, they've moved in together, they've had kids together, but he's had an addiction before he's met her. He's been a decade in front of her. He's experienced the parties before her. He's got the knowledge and he's got the experience of the drugs and the party scene and stuff like this. She probably only had half a clue. Within a year of knowing him, she's got a full clue. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's where the age difference kicks in. You're best staying in your own category. I know some of you young girls want men, and some of you young girls like older men. But you need to be staying in your own age category, in your own energy wave. Don't try and mix in this energy wave that's majority poisonous. So, the court heard Fosbrook slept closest to the door to stop her leaving and had control of the only mobile phone in the house. He had control of finances, leaving Holly and their daughter to rely on food banks, stopped her from wearing makeup and told her what clothes to wear. The judge was told he even altered the flat's intercom to prevent access. What a nasty piece he is. Do you understand what he was doing to this kid and a mum? The barrister said Fosbrook kept a hammer hidden under the sofa. The prosecutor, he threatened to kill her, which he believed he would carry out. He assaulted her numerous times but refused to allow her to go to hospital. She was in genuine fear for her life. In a chilling act of cruelty, the court heard Fosbrook refused to allow Holly dental treatment, resulting in her removing her own braces with a pair of pliers. What's all that about, people? I'm not blanking no one. As you see, I'm reading all the members that's kicked in here. Thank you. I'll get on these in a minute. Just going through this story that's in the local paper of Liverpool. And as I'm saying earlier on, there's loads of used girls that have got caught up in that little going out early, bam, bam, bam. She's got it through a job. She's got it in her employment. You know, you've got to look at the age difference again. It's over a decade. To me, there's issues. Why? Because I got married to someone that was a decade below me. I've just had a child to someone that's a decade below me, and trust me, it's completely different. The mindset is completely different right across the board. No ifs or buts about it. Then again, it's more than a decade, isn't it? So here we go. So she had to pull her braces out with pliers because the rat wouldn't let her get to the dentist because he was scared. That's what it was. He was insecure, little rat. Without her, he was nothing. Without her, he wouldn't cope. Without her, ba 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 bam, ba 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 bam, ba 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 bam. Scumbag deserves to be in jail, not for 3 years. Now listen to what I say to you, and you've heard me say to you in the past. Years ago in the prison system, men that done that to anyone, especially a woman, men that committed that sort of crime to a female or a child would get his jaw snapped. He would be on the numbers. Now, 15 years later, the landings are full of men like him in custody for domestic violence, in custody for breaking jaws on women, in custody for all sorts of mad stuff. The amount of men that are going into custody for murder on females in domestic violence that's been ongoing for years and years and years, and it could have been prevented, is crazy. And that's why you're seeing now the authorities, the majority at the time, not taking second chances. That's why now, if there's an incident of domestic violence, there's police normally there on the scene, sharpish. And when they turn up, the first thing they want to do is separate both parties. And instantly, you're very lucky if you don't get, one of you don't get placed in custody and then get told to stay away from the address for 28 days. Why? Because there's at least 2 or 3 murders a day from the results of domestic violence. They're facts, they're statistics, they're numbers what the government give out, I think. During the lockdown, it's probably escalated. But anyway, back onto Holly, who managed to get away from all that psychological harm that was happening to her and her children. Managed to turn her back on that mature man who knew what Holly would be getting into if he encouraged her to take drugs. I'm not saying she did, but I can guarantee you he tried his hardest to get that young girl on the same path as him, which was on an addiction. She might have, due to pressure, she might have. But now that she's free, she can address whatever problem she's got off that rat. And here she is now. Holly told the Manchester Evening News she wanted to share her story to give hope to other women living with domestic violence. Now this is a story in the Manchester Evening News, but it's printed in the Liverpool Echo. If you don't know, the Liverpool Echo is now printed under the same umbrella as the Manchester Evening News, basically. It's printed in Salford Keys, innit? Thanks for that there, X3. So let's get on to this, carry on with this. Holly told Baba Bam she wanted to share her story to give hope to other women living with domestic violence. And that's all I'm doing. I'm sharing her flame. I'm speaking about her story, speaking about her situation, her experience and her knowledge. I'm passing it on to you. Hopefully in the sense it'll penetrate the minds of anyone that is suffering like she did. In a moving victim impact statement read in court, she said, looking back, she was easily charmed and Fosbrook's promise of love and affection was nothing but a facade from the start. She was easily charmed. Why? Because of the age difference and the positions in employment probably. He's the boss, the hen show, the head chef. She was a waiter or whatever she was doing, receptionist. Yeah. She said whether it was when I first wake up in the morning or try to settle for sleep at night, I always find myself thinking back to what Thomas put me and my daughter through, and it only succeeds in bringing back the heartache. Within the first year of the relationship, there were already signs that I could not look back on and realise that the coercive control was steadily rooting very early. He displayed his insecurities by demanding that I do not talk to any men at the restaurant where we worked, whether it was members of staff or customers, admitting that if he found out men were talking to me, he would want to come out from the kitchen and stab them. Yes, positive vibes, thanks for that donation. So straight away, he's bullying her. He's manipulating her with threats of violence. He's just Anyway, for a chef to be saying that, he shouldn't have been working as a chef. For a chef to have a mindset like that about customers, he should not be working as a chef. Now let's hopefully see what his previous convictions are, and then let's ask the question, if his previous convictions are moody and a bit violent, how does this man working in a kitchen with them offences, with that mindset, with that amount of knives around him? And that's why it's very, very difficult for men with criminal records to get jobs. But obviously for this chef it wasn't. He made it clear that I was to dress the way he wanted me to and that I would stop wearing makeup. While living in our flat with my daughter, I was firmly instructed to make no contact with anyone, whether it be neighbours or visitors at our door. I can't carry on reading this. Holly said her daughter was left to play on carpets as she had to clean with a brush as there was no vacuum cleaner. She told how Vosbrook threatened to stab her and pour boiling water over her. She added in a statement, prior to meeting Tom, I was undergoing orthodontic treatment, which I was paying for privately. However, this was never completed. I was no longer able to pay for my treatment. And because I was refused the chance to go back to have my braces removed, I was left with no choice but to remove my own braces with pliers. Yes, M100 RCP, thank you, mate. Under a blood red sky, thank you, bro. Love the Irish as always. So look, it is what it is. If you've sat there and heard me read that story about Holly and how she broke free from this man with the help of an orthopedic nurse, I think it was. It's messy, innit? And it's going on a lot more than what it used to. Honest, it's getting worse and worse. Young girls getting manipulated by mature adult men. And you see it with 16-year-olds, you see it with 15-year-olds, with 24-year-olds. 1 year here, 1 year there. There's no difference, trust me. The mindset is completely different. The experience is different. The knowledge is different. Understand what I'm saying to you girls. Try and stay in your own wave category. Don't go out of 5 years. Trust me, if you're 13, just shut up. Don't even go there. Don't even kiss. Because why? Next story. Cookie Monster, pyjama paedophile, wanted to open toy shop. Cookie Monster, pyjama paedophile, wanted to open a toy shop. And they're everywhere. I'm not even going to read that story. Let's go on to this. Gang boss kept drug empire running on phone from prison cell. Well, let's look at this story, yeah? Gang boss kept drug empire running on phone from prison cell. Now the amount of kids that are in custody who had grafts before they went to custody, who managed to keep their grafts going whilst in custody. Why? Because they've got smartphones, they've got Sankos, they've got what they want. They're just in prison, basically. So they manage and they're able to conduct proceedings just like they was outside. You know, the graft was run by them, but they were in a nice apartment or in the passenger seat of a car or driving a nice car. The only difference now is they're in custody behind bars, but they've still got access to a phone, so they can do exactly what they were doing outside, only they're inside and they're not spending as much. So when they're in custody, the stack is getting massive, massive, massive and massive. And half of them don't even need to graft anymore when they get out. But they do, like so. But let's go on to this story of Jake Muldoon. Was already in prison for repeatedly stabbing a gang underling. Jake Muldoon was already in prison for repeatedly stabbing a gang underling in the head over missing drugs. Underling is someone that's younger, or someone that's below him on the ranking scale, on the pyramid scale. How old was he? Jake Muldoon was 22 of Lowerson Crescent, Norris Green, who was jailed for 9 years for stabbing a man in the head. So he's already in custody for stabbing someone in the head with a knife. He's serving 9 years and he's only 22 at this time. He's 22 years of age and he's got 9 years in custody. Let that sink in. Whilst he's in custody, he's not correcting his ways. The custody is not going to help him like it doesn't help thousands of others. In custody, they have not got the ability or the capabilities to rehabilitate anyone. The prison system was set up and rigged and changed with the mindset of rehabilitation. Let's stop people going into custody, coming out of custody and going back into custody. You've got people going into custody and committing serious crime whilst in custody up and down the prison system. They don't like to admit it. The private sector, majority of private prisons, so they don't get fined on their contracts that they've got. They will make phones that kids are being nicked with disappear. They will let a wing know, especially the decent cleaners, and say to them, the wing's getting spun. If you don't want to end up on any charges or like that, tell everyone to do what they've got to do and put the phones in the bins or stash them outside the cells. And sometimes that happens. It makes the jail fantastic. They can be quiet for 6 months. Everyone gets back to work. And it gives some of the screws like promotions because you've recovered this and you've recovered that. So they work hand in hand, especially in the private prisons. And I'm not talking shy to you. That's what happens. So we've got Jake Muldoon, 22, serving 9 years for stabbing someone in the head over drug money, over drugs going missing. An extremely dangerous drug gang boss kept his empire running on a phone from his prison cell. These are the comments that's in the local paper, people. I'm just repeating them. A huge county lines drug gang who made more than £800,000 shipping drugs between Wigan and Merseyside was brought to its knees. 5 men and a woman involved in a Class A drugs conspiracy have been sentenced to a total of 36 years and 9 months imprisonment after being rumbled by the detectives. First fault on the courts and the authorities. 36 years for 6 individuals for flooding a little town like Wigan with narcotics that absolutely leave long-term damage, generational damage. Mums giving birth to kids whilst they're on heroin. They get a little sentence of 9 years. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then they carry on flooding the same town whilst they're in a little shitty jail. Imprisonment after being rumbled, bam, 36 years after being rumbled by detectives. Bolton Crown Court heard how the county line ran from the Lee and Atherton areas of Wigan and was controlled by Jake Muldoon, 23, known locally as Scouse Joe. Scouse Joe. And Adam Jara, 29, known as Biggie, both from Norris Green. So we've got two Codys. Adam Jara, 29, and Jake Muldoon, who was 23, Scouse Joe. Nicknames on them. Anyone called Joe goes into town and them little punters see you and go, "Is your name Joe?" You're going to go, "Yeah." "Have you got any bits on you?" Jara was found to be frequently travelling to Atherton and along with the rest of the gang was using houses in the area for storage, preparation and distribution of large quantities of Class A drugs. Police got wind of the gang's actions and raided a home on Bridge Street on Thursday, November the 1st, 2018, which saw Jar Jar and Rhys Jones, 22, arrested and heroin, drugs, production equipment, shotgun ammunition and £4 in cash recovered, amongst other significant items. Rhys Jones has nothing to do with the young boy. Phones recovered from the initial raid enabled officers to link Jamie Ashcroft, 22, Declan Prescott, 24 and Nathan Rutter, 21 to the conspiracy, and inquiries established that they were being orchestrated by Jones under the direction of Jara and Muldoon. So that's the pyramid. And you should see the kip of them. You should see the state of them. You can tell the months they were grafting and putting them bits in the mouth and having them in the mouth for the majority of the day where they're grafting in case police come so they can swallow them. The way they move and they drink and all of this, you can tell that the leakage on the wrappings and the residue on the wrappings of crack and heroin going into the system with the saliva on a daily basis, round and round the clock, as they're selling drugs, as they're grafting bits in the mouth, the residue off the bits leaking down into saliva, continuous for a couple of months because they're doing it daily. Eventually they end up looking rough, and some of them end up smoking, some of them end up smoking the heroin because they rattle of it, because they're continuously bam, 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 bam. So years and years ago, going off track a bit, but years and years ago, when the grafters in Anfield was giving their bits to the kids to sell, they'd single wrap them. And what you'd had the likes of, let's say Paul Campbell, decent kid, grafted all his life, selling bits in his mouth, ended up on the tackle. He ended up selling for other people because the drugs just destroyed him and his graft. He ended up selling for other people. He's had about 26 bits in his mouth of heroin in single wraps. He's been pulled, he swallowed them. Whilst they were in his stomach, he's OD'd on them. He died whilst in police custody. Oh no, he nearly died whilst in police custody. But there's been others that's died whilst in police custody, swallowing heroin, single wrapped, while they've been jumped on while selling drugs. This little conspiracy here, Ashcroft, Prescott and Rutter were all arrested and found to be in possession of Class A drugs, which caused fractions within the gang as drug debts were beginning to mount. This was particularly the case from Prescott, who had twice been stopped by police in a stolen vehicle on the first occasion he made off, reaching speeds of 80 miles per hour in a 30 zone and rammed the police car. After his arrest on another occasion, he made threats to chop up 2 police officers arresting him with 2 large machetes that were in the vehicle at the time of his arrest. Violent kid, this one, isn't he? He must have been smoking crack to behaving like that. He must have been consuming some sort of Class A drug to be acting like that. Do you understand what I mean? Prescott was later stabbed repeatedly in the head by Muldoon. So you've got 2 friends. They started arguing because grafts were getting messed up, drugs were getting took by police and money was going missing. They started arguing. Prescott, who was threatening the coppers with 2 machetes, living by the knife, has now been wounded by the knife by someone he once called a friend. But as I keep on telling you, in the drug game, your brother from another mother will stab you in the back instantly if he thinks he's being ripped off by you. No ifs or buts. Rutter was also arrested following a police pursuit and was found to have a machete, a taser, a knife and CS spray, while Ashcroft's arrest during a warrant in January 2020 uncovered information that he was paying his mother, Marie Ledworth, 39, £50 a day to store drugs at her address on behalf of Muldoon. So Muldoon's got one of the other kids paying his mum to store drugs in his house. The mum knew this was happening, and that's probably the one female out of the 6 that got jail. Let's see. Despite being remanded in custody, Muldoon continued to run the business from a mobile phone he had within his prison cell, directing Ashcroft in the supply and distribution of drugs. The group were ultimately dismantled during the course of the Challenger investigation, and all 7 of the group were charged with various drugs, driving and violent offences. The men aged between 21 and 24 were jailed on Monday, December the 20th, after a 2-day hearing held at Bolton Crown Court, after all previously pleading guilty, with a 6th man to be sentenced in February. Muldoon of Norris Green, Liverpool, has been sentenced to 6.5 years after admitting offences of conspiracy to supply Class A drugs. He will serve this sentence in addition to the 9 years for which he is currently serving for the stabbing of Declan Prescott, taking the sentence to 15.5 years in total. So Muldoon, the main man out of the bunch, the one who stabbed Prescott in the head with the knife, who was already serving 9 years, has now gone and went and got 6.5 years added to his 9 years, which means once he's finished his 9-year sentence, his 6-year sentence will carry on. So basically he had 9 years, he had the possibility of getting out around 5.5. Now he's got 15 years, he's got the possibility of getting out around 9. Big difference for what? For what? Look at the years he's missing. He's 23 now, he's got about 8-9 years to do. He's getting out when he's 33. Is it worth it? You know, you thought you were bicklets on the wing, you thought you were the man, you had the phone, you had the graft outside, you were getting parcels in to keep everyone sweet, everyone was on your balls, licking your balls. Now you've just got 6.5 years. For grafting in the prison you were grafting in, you've probably been recategorised, you've probably got from progressing through the prison system. You just made your bad situation into a even more severely bad situation. And this is what Choose a Life Not a Knife is all about. Keeping you away from that system in the first place. This kid's 23. He's selling drugs from a cell in prison thinking he's Pablo Escobar. He's just got an extra 6.5 years. Do you understand where I'm going with this, people? Prescott from Atherton has been sentenced to 2 years and 9 months after admitting offences of conspiracy to Class A drugs, controlled drugs and dangerous driving. He done well. He done very, very well. It might be down to the fact that he got stabbed in the head, and there might be an element of victimisation and bullying or whatever you may suggest. That's why the judges took it lenient on him. He was also sentenced to a further I should have read. I should have carried on. He was also sentenced to a further 4 years for 2 unrelated offences of robbery, taking his sentence to 6 years and 9 months. Ashcroft of Kebble Grove, Lee, has been sentenced to 6 years after being found guilty of offences of conspiracy to supply Class A controlled drugs. Rutter of Wigan, blah blah blah. Jarrah of Kingland Crescent, Liverpool, is due to be sentenced on Wednesday, February the 9th, after admitting. So he must be caught up in another trial, so he can't be sentenced, or he must have other offences that need to be dealt with before he gets sentenced, so they can align them all with the result of that trial or whatever. But there's 3 stories, people. You know, we never touched on the nonce one. We've got other stories to look at here. We've got other stories to have a little look at. I'll go into one more. See if there's any more crime out there. Teen boy threatened with machete over £150 coat. I'll just touch on that. What the teen boy doing with a £150 jacket on his back anyway? How materialistic are your parents to be getting you a jacket worth a car? Do you understand what I'm saying? It's mad, isn't it, lad? Don't put yourself at risk. You know, if you're going to get a nice jacket, go and get a nice £200 jacket. You don't need an £800 jacket. And don't start launching at your man because you can't afford it. All that material. You might look good, but you look good to other people. You look good to other people that can't afford that. You look good to other people that will just take it off you. You know, there's a time and a place. And as I keep on saying, there's an age. You know, stick with it. But you're going to wear all the best when young, and you're going to pay for yourself when you get older. Dad sold £1 million of drugs to pay off brother's gangland debts. Let's read this one, eh? I'm doing a live every night, and I hope something goes on. I hope someone makes a move whilst I'm on live. So this is the next story. Dad sold £1 million of drugs to pay off brother's gangland debts. He traded heroin for a mystery kingpin who used Liverpool FC nickname on EncroChat. He traded heroin for a mystery kingpin. Stop talking complete. I don't know how the courts believed him. So we've got Ryan Doolan traded in huge amounts of heroin, cocaine and cannabis. He's got a jaw like every steroid abusing, growth injecting individual has. An electrician by trade sold more than £1 million of heroin, cocaine and cannabis as he tried to pay off his brother's gangland debts. Ryan Doolan traded in some 200 kilos of drugs and handled around £1 million of dirty cash under the EncroChat handle name Windsoup. He looks like that keeper, lad, yeah? Finger off him, actually, now you've just said that. Secret messages showed the Gattaca dad was under the command of mystery drug kingpin Alison Becker, an unidentified crook who used the name of Liverpool goalkeeper on the encrypted phone network, Judgy. But the text also revealed he was working off a debt owed by his brother Sean Doolan, who was jailed for 14 years for a huge heroin plot in October 2019. Oh, yeah, 2019. Sean Doolan, now 35, was the head of a Liverpool-based gang that flooded cities across England and Wales with more than £16 million of Class A drugs. He was caught when trying to board a one-way flight to Cyprus with his wife and 4 children at John Lennon Airport in November 2018. Liverpool Crown Court heard Sean Doolan owned underworld figures hundreds of thousands of pounds due to the drugs seized when his network collapsed. Prosecutors accept Ryan Doolan, 33, took on no debts. Charles, prosecuting, said it is accepted that certain messages demonstrate that the defendant is working off a debt to Alison Becker that had been accrued by the defendant's brother Sean Doolan. Sean Doolan was said to be the leader of a Merseyside operation in which there had been a number of drug seizures as part of the investigation. The court heard that as of March 28, 2020, it appeared the debt was in the region of £225,000. Mr. Landers said messages sent that day suggested Ryan Doolan had reduced his brother's debt by £45,000, which was 20% off the bill. Detectives were able to link the electrician to the Windsoup profile after other EncroChat users referred to him as the Spark and Spakatuza. He also made a series of blunders as he mentioned his girlfriend being a nurse. her brother being in prison, talked about his children, his stuff. So anyway, prosecutors said he had 48 contacts stored in his EncroChat device. He was involved in the supply of minimum of 123 kilograms of heroin, 25 kilograms of cocaine, and 59 kilograms of cannabis. Police recovered his messages from March the 26th to May the 30th, 2020, but also a note created on his phone on January the 7th, which showed he had been involved in lucrative conspiracies since at least the start of that year. Woo! Well, there you go, people. It's all about this Alison Becker, isn't it? How many stories have you heard about this EncroChat, about Liverpool men being caught grafting off the EncroChat and Alison Becker's name coming up in it? Now, let's not forget how far back this stuff goes. You know, these EncroChats were getting used for years and years. Although the authorities only get to go back so many years with the devices, they can trace the messages back if they've been ongoing for so many years. And what the authorities will be doing now is, they'll already know who Alison Becker is. Why? Because they've got the phones, they're able to pinpoint some of them by the way of what cars are in the photos, what luxuries, what names are mentioned, and what they've got, they'll have a little network, the police will, that'll be able to cipher through all and link that to this to that, this to that, and that's how they're identifying the majority of these kids. Alison Becker, who fled to Dubai in 2019 with him, his girlfriend, someone else's child, and his child. He looks like him. He's the ringer of him. But he's only about 5'4". You've heard me mention his name. I'm convinced it's him. There's only one kid in the city of Liverpool who has had that power. There's only one Scouse kid in the city of Liverpool who has had that power since the demise of Curtis Warren. Simple as that. The man that raised and praised Curtis Warren, raised and praised this kid I'm referring to as Alison Becker. So yous who read crime novels and crime true stories may have heard of the banker. The banker is Philly Glennon, the Glennons. It was the Glennons that sent Curtis Warren on his path to notoriety. Glennon, the daughter, was Warren's missus for a long time. Eventually it broke up because of the amount of time within prison that Warren was spending. But people filled the gap. And it was him that filled the gap. You've heard me speak about him in the past. You've heard me mention him a long time. How did I first come into contact with this individual? You know, I used to be around the kids off Scotty Road. You know, I used to frequent Kirkdale. And I used to have it with a lot of boys. Nice one for that watch out TikTok. I used to mix with Pancake Taylor, James Richardson, Lee Glover, Duncan Miller, Jay Murphy, Wacky, Mikey Wright, Gibbo. All of them, I used to mix with all of them. Doesn't matter how deep, doesn't matter if it was on the fringes. I mixed with all of them at one point in my life. So, when I was mixing with them, I had a few individuals working with me, the likes of Dave Whelan, who all use in Scotland will know as Meat and Mossad. I had individuals like them round me whilst I was along Scotty. And Pancake Taylor, Spiff, and people like that used to work for this kid, who I'm speaking about now, the one that fled to Dubai in 2019. How I met this kid that fled to Dubai in 2019, Pancake Taylor and others used to have this group that used to travel to Aberdeen. They used to travel to Aberdeen with a lot of drugs. Then drugs would go into a caravan. They'd be stored in that caravan until the whole consignment was sold, and then the money would be taken back across the border into Liverpool. On one occasion, some of them drugs have gone missing. The way criminals in England confirm whether a parcel's gone down in Scotland, truthfully, pushing the word of the person aside, they go to the local papers. They look in the local papers to see what drugs was recovered. You know, if there was 30 kilos of cannabis and 10 kilos of heroin, and in the paper it's saying 5 kilos of heroin was recovered and so many kilos of, some's gone missing, and the blame falls back on the individual that was sitting in the storage, the caravan. On this one occasion, Fingers, forgot it, Lynch, is it Lynch? Anyway, Fingers, this kid used to travel up and down the road for years with Grapey, people like this, for years, up and down the road, Scotland. So, Fingers has gone up the road, he's been doing it for months, there's been no hiccups, everything's been going fine. He was mixing with this kid called John Ormy, not the older one, the younger one. So they go up there, they take the parcel up there, they do what they've got to do, they get the dough in, they come back down. They're all living nice, they're all making a lot of money. Why? Because they're turning 1 key into 3 and sending it up the road. What does that mean? 1 kilo of heroin in Liverpool that you'd sell on the streets in Liverpool was getting chopped into 3 kilos and getting sent up the road. So when they're paying 21 bags for a key of heroin, they're sending it up the road for 30 bags, but it's being chopped into 3, so they're getting 90 bags. So they're receiving 70 bags profit on the 21 they've invested on the first kilogram. That's the way it used to be in the 2000s, early 2000s. Don't know what it's like now. But anyway, Fingers, Hornby, used to go up there with this parcel, store it in the caravan, do what they're doing, all of a sudden one's gone down. Okay, one's gone down, we'll take your word for it, fill the gap, get back up there, but the customers still need feeding, dish. New parcel's gone up, everything's okay, bam. Few trips, bang, another one's gone. But only this time the newspapers are contradicting Fingers. So I'm around this bunch now, and I'm speaking to this bunch. And I'm just observing this bunch, and I'm saying to this bunch, are you seriously going to take this off this kid? He bumped his last time, you give him a walkover because you can justify it. This time there's no justification. You've got the local paper contradicting him, and when you're asking him what's going on, he's not giving you a true account. You just need to deal with it. Don't forget, this is how I first met Alison Becker. Yeah? So, who I think is Alison Becker, alright? So, as this is going on, I'm saying to these, you need to be dealing with this, bam. They say to me, how can we deal with this? I said, simple, call him down, as he's going up the stairs, I'll chicken him. If you don't know what a chicken is, it's coming behind someone, putting him in a guillotine and putting him asleep, yeah? So the plan was set. In this block of flats, it was all ours. It was the boys off Scotty Road, and it was all ours. You had Jay Murphy in the top one, you had some other kids, some other Jay in the bottom one, and the middle floor was empty, other than a girl that knew Jay upstairs, which was sweet. Yes, X23, thanks for this. So in that centre flat, a few things used to get stored there, but it was empty. It was just an empty flat. So the mindset was, as he comes in the building, we need to speak about what's going on, blah, get the dough off him, He comes in, he goes up the first flight of stairs. As he's halfway up them flight of stairs, I slip in behind him, guillotine, bang, put him a kip, drag him along the landing, drag him into the empty flat, put him into the bedroom, shut the door. He's asleep now with two individuals in the room with him. I've left the room. Certain other individuals have left the room. Now this Fingers is responsible for taking Alison Beckham's 90 or something like that. There was something like 5 kilos of heroin gone. Someone had to pay for it. Pancake, Glover and Co had to prove to the main man himself that done on the ground about this parcel that's gone down. He wanted paying. These couldn't pay him. So they had to show him who was to blame. And that was Fingers. So now what you've got is Fingers in this room. And you've got this individual in this room with Fingers. Now this individual gets Fingers. Believe it or not, he's put a curtain over the thing. He's got the kids outside to get the music on in the block of flats. So the block of flats is pumping now. Boom, 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 like a party's going on. You've got this one man with 2 bats. This is fact. People can confirm this for you. You've got one man with 2 bats. Aluminium baseball bat and a wooden baseball bat. You've got Fingers, the victim, in the corner, tied up in a German torture stance. If you don't know what a German torture stance, it's your hands behind your back tied, and then your feet are tied, then your hands are tied to your feet from behind. That is a German torture stance. The room's dark, there's just a little bit of light coming in from the hall, there's music going on, and you can hear the obvious people outside waiting to see what's going on with this kid, whether the parcel's going to return or whether the money's going to return. Wanting the truth. Yeah? You've got this kid, his mate, John Hornby, sat outside the flat thinking he's not coming in, but let's see what happens, yeah? So you've got this man with 2 baseball bats and you've got Fingers in the German torture stance. The man goes to work on Fingers with the wooden baseball bat and he's going to town. Fingers is in the corner. You've got a square room, he's in the corner. So it's only his right side showing at the moment. He's on his knees with his hands strapped to his ankles behind. He's getting belted continuously till the bat snaps. The wooden baseball bat snaps. The man with the wooden baseball bat is sweating from head to toe. The man strips off everything except for his boxies and his trainers. At that point, the door opens. In pops Glover, in pops Pancake, and in pops Alison Becker. Alison Becker's arse falls out of him. Why the have yous brought me here? Why have yous brought me here? That's what's coming out of his mouth. He's fuming, he's bailing. But before he bails, he looks at the man who's standing there in his trainees, now with the aluminium baseball bat, now with Fingers in the other corner, targeting the other side of his body. Alison Becker's looking at this man, thinking, what the is going on there? He bails. These still need the dough. So these are instructing the man in the shorts, sweating his back off, to carry on getting the dough. Fingers, he's been unconscious twice. He's been woke up twice. He's been belted for 3.5 hours. He's already had a wooden bat snapped on him. It comes to the point now where the ties have got to come off. Why? Because all his limbs have swelled beyond the point of bursting. So to alleviate that, the ties have come off. He still could not move. This is a true account of a situation that went on with someone that I never witnessed but was told everything about. True account. He was then stuck in the German torture position, but without the ties. He was not tied into this position. His bones has suffered some sort of cramp, and his muscles and all his tissue had swelled beyond recognition. He was black and blue from neck to feet. His cheekbones were gone, his nose was gone, and his jaw was gone. He was in and out of consciousness quite a few times. He was then kicked round the room for another few hours, to the point where he just weren't admitting nothing. Nothing was recovered, nothing regained. He was placed into a car. He was drove along County Road naked. He'd had the curtain out the room wrapped around his neck. He was placed into the boot of an estate vehicle, and he was drove along County Road, and he was kicked out the boot, and he looked like Batman. That's what the kids said. He lied on the road outside the McDonald's on County Road for at least 10 minutes before it was a scene of crime. He was rushed to hospital, and whatever happened there. I was in custody 5-6 years later. I land on the landing. Someone's refusing to come out of his cell. Someone's on the prison yard. I end up on the prison yard. Someone sprints off the prison yard, then refused to come out of his cell. It was fingers. I believe he still pisses the bed through that traumatic experience. I believe he has nightmares. I believe he's on Wonder Patrol consistently because he's still abusing cocaine. Unfortunately, no one was arrested for that crime. The people that were responsible for it, the main participant, he's now dead. But that's true crime for you right there, people. That's true crime for you. And it all stemmed back on how I first come into contact with Alison Becker. That was the occasion I first came into contact with Alison Becker. Well, anyway, as we move on, people, the Real Crime, Real Time podcast will start focusing as we go into the year 2022 on the real topics of communities, raising awareness, doing what I can as a one-man band. I've now been supported for a third of the year, and my life's been better for it. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank every one of you members and any one of you that's donated any sort of money. It doesn't matter, it's all counting. You can see it, you can see the stage getting better, you can see the content becoming better, and you can see me eating, sleeping and dressing myself, feeling myself, getting that pride back, feeling motivated for next year. It doesn't matter what tidal wave comes at me now, it doesn't matter what angle they come from. None can penetrate this mind any longer. Just me and my thoughts, and they're all positive. And I'm here, as always, to spin this message. Spin it as far and wide as I can. It doesn't matter if it's chaotic. It doesn't matter if it's not uniform. If it's not the usual way of doing things. It's my way of doing things, and I feel my way of doing things is penetrating the minds of the right people that need to be penetrated. And that's the youth who are at risk of joining gangs, who are at risk of getting stabbed, shot or lifed off in prison. It doesn't matter what avenue you take, as long as you take a good life and stay away from the knife life and the umbrella that comes with it. All the pitfalls of that shite that's under the umbrella of choose a life, not a knife, there's loads of them, but you can get away from them and you can prevent yourself ending up in them. You can stop yourself ending up under that umbrella of complete poison and snakes. You get people criticising this message on a continuous basis. Yeah, he's just repeating himself. Yeah, he's doing nothing. There's no action. There's no action. I can't do action when I've got all them trying to stop me from taking action. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm still moving forward. Next year, I'm going to go all out right up until the summer to do what I can for this message. It is what it is. Summer 2022. I've told you a week ago, yous are coming raving with me. I need a break from this terrifying life. I'm attacking all them decent raves and you're coming with me. That's where we're going. Year 2022. The message, me to you. So anyway, we've got 550 people in watching. That's great. I've had a nice few donations tonight. That's fantastic. It's now coming up to nearly 10:15. I must have been on for what? How long have I been on for, people? Do you know? $71. So I've just gone over the hour. That's the first episode for tonight. What I want to do, I don't want to jeopardise this with copyright lyrics and copyright music. I want to try and get me full funding for it. So I'm going to lock off this and then I'm going to come back on. And what day is it? Tuesday? 4 days till Christmas. Most people have got the last day of work very soon. Most people never even had work. Some of you can stay up late. Some of you can relate. Some of you can't. I'm not really asked. If you want to have a little scream, if you want to have a little something different on your live feed tonight than what you're used to, lock in. It can shift. It can shift patterns left, right and centre all night. You don't know what mindset I'm going to go into. It all depends on the comments. That's why I keep on reiterating to me members out there, me members that can see me getting provoked, me members that can see me latching onto the negative comments and starting to get, you know, antagonised by them. The first people I look at are the people that make donations like B-Cars Live and the members. I look at them comments before the rest. So if you see these little horrible trolls kicking back in, like they're going to, they're always going to on a feed like this. So when they're kicking in, I expect a little bit of solidarity from the members and the donators to just say, whoa, ignore him, block him, you know, like that, and I'll deal with it. And then eventually we can have a nice chilled out evening with all the right people on board, with all the right people that want to hear, who want to spend some time with me in their room. That's where I want to be at. I can't be asked continuously talking about individuals that mean nothing to me. I don't love them. They've got no energy of mine. They're not going to hurt me in any way. It is what it is. I can't keep on wasting the valuable time I have got like them. Are you with me? I can only call them out so many times. I can only tell people where my address is so many times. Anyone can come and get me. Anyone can turn up to my door. I'm not interested. I've never ran. I've always took decisions to get myself safe and away from prison. And that's all you see me why I left Liverpool. They weren't trying to have it with me. They were trying to kill me with rats or get me put in prison. I survived the rats. They were going all out with the prison. You know, we had the likes of Danielle Lowe snitching on me, going straight to police stations, telling complete lies. Lucky I taped it. Lucky I'm a YouTube blogger. Otherwise I would have got JLN and my licence breached. But thankfully, because I was on my YouTube and me choose a life not a night, I had my camera at the ready. And it proved she was just lying through her teeth. But anyway, that's old news. I've moved forward. I hope you have. I'm still going forward. I hope you're all going to come with me. I'll be back on at what? 10:30. I need a drink of that water and I need to chill out for a little bit. Alright? 10:30, see you in a bit. I know there's 534 watching. And people out there that clickbait and people out there that love this and get egos off this and thrive off the comments that build them up and drop them down and so on and so forth. I'm not really into that. I'm here to entertain sometimes, but I'm also here to share wisdom and inspire the youth to try and create change within themselves and others. That's the priority. Tonight, what are we going to have? You just had true crime, basically, haven't you? You've had one of my stories, which is a true account, can be backed up by various individuals. And then you've had some of the daily newspaper from the city of Liverpool. As you can tell, the crimes are dirty, the crimes are nasty. It's continuous uploads, continuous front pages of gang attack, gang violence, rapes. It's not good in the communities, it's not good in our city, and it's deteriorating. You've got men like Tom Coxton going into town, enjoying his night out and coming away with 100-stitch a wound down the side of his face. You've got young girls getting stabbed to death. You've got men getting stabbed to death continuously within the city now. What do? Sit back and hope that the police are the only ones that can address this? Hope that No More Knives are the only organisation out there that can tap at this? There's loads of organisations out there that all need to come to the table and all need to focus on the youth. On the youth. Money should be no object, like it's no object for other situations in the world, especially war. There should be no object for money when it's coming to getting the youth and sorting their future out with a safe environment first and foremost. Without a safe environment, we've got nothing. L5 Alive, choose a life, not a night. Darren G, in the glorious city of Birmingham, from the beautiful city of Liverpool. Peace out, L5, shout. As you can see on the banner above my head, you might be able to see it because it's dark, but let me read it out for you. The city of Liverpool unite in the fight against violent crime. Protect our children, protect our future. Choose a life, not a knife, UK. It's as simple as that, people. Protect our children, protect our future. Peace out. L5 shout. See you in a minute.